What's up, guys? It is Grizzly FOG. I'm back with my second episode of Ring Talk. Now, if you haven't listened to the first episode, that is up on my Anchor website, anchor.fm forward slash Grizzly FOG, I think. If it's wrong, I'm sorry. I don't know. And then obviously you have sites like Spotify and whatever else that Anchor uploads on and whatnot. Go check it out. I didn't really talk anything specific. I just rambled about some things that went on in WWE and wrestling in the past few weeks, including like Kari Sane and Velveteen Dream and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a flashback type of podcast, I guess. Now, when you look at whatever's going on in WWE now, so because a lot of things obviously has changed since then in the past few weeks, ever since I recorded that podcast. So before I get into this, a couple things. I started my own Teespring store, and that site is up now. Teespring.com /stores /hard -to -earn. That's two with a TO, not a number two. And the store is called Hard to Earn. This is my store that I wanted to start out. I've been wanting to do a store for a long time. As far as selling like merch, like wrestling related merch and stuff like that, like pop culture and stuff like that. So I got my Teespring store up, Hard to Earn. Go check that out. I have a link in the description if you listen to this on SoundCloud, or if you listen to this on YouTube, maybe even Anchor. I don't know. I gotta still explore the site, see how it's set up. This is probably gonna be a short podcast. I had a lot of stuff I wanted to talk about on this podcast concerning Asuka in the era of the Empress, but I might put that on hold until next podcast, because what's been happening this week has been so draining. It's been so crazy, and as far as wrestling, Twitter and wrestling in general this week has been concerned. We lost some people this week, like some really good people, like Jerry Sloan, who we lost yesterday, legendary coach, played for the Chicago Bulls, associated with the Utah Jazz, Mr. 1223. That's a legendary soul that got lost. And then we had Larry Shankar. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. Legendary wrestling figure, writer, whatever. Another legendary soul that lost. But the two losses that hurt this week alone was Shad Gaspard and Hana Kimura, who we just lost like basically today as I'm recording this podcast. Shad, he was a part of my childhood. Of course, me growing up watching WWE, watching Crime Time, seeing Shad and JTG on my TV, nothing but comedy, nothing but funny stuff, and I love them for that. Seeing, two black figures in a wrestling ring, watching that growing up was, it was cool. It was awesome, and I know Shad had a great soul. He was a great person, and it's just unfortunate that he passed away. He was 39. But I really want to center this episode around Hana Kimura. This was tough. This is like one of these deaths that you knew where you were when you heard the news about it, you knew where you were when you seen the news about it, anything. And it's just tragic, really. It's a real tragic. So my experience was, I was at work. I was on my lunch break from working 12 hours. It was around 2:30, around 2:30 p.m. That I started to get on my phone and started to get on Twitter. I don't know when exactly that Hana started the tweet, but she came up on Twitter and tweet some very disturbing graphic photos of her arms slit and covered in blood, and attached to those four photos was kind of like a suicide note slash letter. um when you translate it, it's kind of disturbing to read. um Saying that, she was grateful that she had a mother, and she just wanted somebody uh to love her. And in that note, she said her goodbye um to everyone, and also did the same on Twitter. And the way I found out about it was somebody on my timeline tweeting, "Oh, I hope Hana's okay. I hope this that." I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this can't be he can't be talking about the Hana I think you're talking about, not Hana Kimura, right? But sure enough, I went to her profile, and I seen the stuff I seen before she deleted her tweets, and it was scary. Um, it was on my mind for the rest of the day after that. I'm trying to look at Twitter, and nobody's saying nothing. Nobody's giving updates. After you see some of uh, the wrestlers that she's close to, like Jungle Kiona and Vini or Asuka, um, tweeting, trying to get into contact with her. Apparently, what happened was that Kairi Sane and Io Shirai seen those tweets, and they contacted Rossi, who is the basically the owner of Stardom. And then when that happened, basically like word got to Jungle, or Jungle seen what she seen on Twitter, and she went to go check on Hana, but she made it too late. And basically it was around 12 o'clock midnight over here in the States. I live in Virginia, so that's Eastern Standard Time. And Stardom Twitter came out and said that they had lost Hana Kimura, and said that she passed away. And Jesus Christ, I haven't felt for a death this hard since Kobe Bryant earlier this year. I remember I was in my room when I seen that, and my brother Raylan, he was like, "Hey, Kobe Bryant died." I'm like, "Dude, you gotta be kidding me. You stop joking." He was like, "No, he died." And then I go on Twitter, and it's like TMZ reported that, hey, Kobe Bryant passed away in a helicopter crash, and I was just like, I can't believe it. It's TMZ, I can't believe it. But then I flashed back to when Mac Miller died. I was in my car with the Pew Gang squad, with Waylon and my bro Joe, Jay Casino, and Sis Allegra, and we was all coming back from work, coming from Newport News in Norfolk that day. We was in the car listening to 103 Jams, and somebody came on the radio and said, according to TMZ, Mac Miller passed away from a potential overdose. And I'm just like, I can't believe it. I can't believe that. That's TMZ. TMZ reports stuff like, and they get antsy, and they jump the gun sometimes, but they were sure as hell right. He passed away from an overdose, and basically I never discredited TMZ ever since then. And when I seen the news about the death of Hana, I didn't sleep at all. I did not sleep. I did not try to lay down or anything. I was just literally sitting in my room in the dark, thinking like, "Wow, that's crazy. Like that's somebody that I actually wanted to meet in life. One day, whether she came to the States again or I went to Japan one day. Um, it's crazy thinking about it. The reason um, why is basically because of cyberbullying. Um, Hana's not was not only a wrestler, but she was also on a reality show for a Japanese Netflix show called Terrace House, and it started off dope. It's she came there. It's like, yeah, I wanted to come in here and wanted to make people aware about women's wrestling and stuff like that. And it was such a great thing to see her on there. And of course, she had the moments, the drama moments. When you get her heart broken and cry, and of course you get upset and stuff like that. But seeing her up there was great. And me and my homie going to grip. We were we was in the Discord chat. That's my like update man, because he would watch it, and I don't really get a chance to watch it in my spare time because I do so much between work and music and other things. And whenever I wanted to get an update every week or every other week, I'm just like, going to Discord chat and be like, hey yo, my man Grip, what's going on with Terrence House, what's Hana doing in Terrence House. And he would tell me, and we would trip out, me gripping my homeboy Dado Nebula. Yeah, I mean, we would be in there and just talk about, what she would do up there, and stuff like that. And we was literally talking about the scene that got her basically uneasy with the fans like a day or a couple days ago or whatever. The scene where she took off Rio's hat, and she was basically upset. Geez, I was even talking about her looking back at him like, do something, I dare you. Like she had the look like, do something, I dare you to do something. It's after that she just walked upstairs, and we was talking about that in the chat. I was like, yeah, Hana's a badass, really, really is a badass. But people didn't like that at all. People saying that the producers kind of manipulated the footage to make it seem like she was kind of being an asshat. People was on Twitter saying some really, really reckless stuff in her tweets, and basically Japanese Twitter, Terrence House Twitter, saying some egregious stuff, stuff that I couldn't believe. Like it's just sad. Bullying is a terrible thing. I feel like it's a leech on the face of society, because trust me, like I went through bullying in like elementary and middle school, and then died down in high school, but I still have those memories. Being a kid that's like taller and fatter than your other classmates, and it's just so much you have to deal with, because people just pick on you and pick on you and pick on you every day, and I don't even know how I made it through it. I went, I'm from Hampton, Newport News, Hampton Roads area, and I went to Whiff Elementary, and I would get picked on. And then I remember 4th grade year I went to Aberdeen, and that was like my first time getting suspended as a student, fighting somebody. Like I remember I hit somebody with a a textbook, like not even a paper textbook, but a hardback one, and stuff like that. And people would be at lunch, and then people would like put like food on me, like put food in my hair, and then one time near the end of the year, I got into another fight, and I got basically knocked out. I mean, not knocked out, but I just got like thrown off, like. And then, the administration had the nerve to basically blame me for starting the fight, and I'm just like, wow. I tried to defend myself, and I still get blamed for stuff. Bullying is terrible. I went through it. I think that's what made me who I am today. Made me a strong person. Made me a resilient to whatever came my way, and I was ready for it in middle school. And of course, it came in middle school. I almost got arrested in middle school because somebody was bullying and harassing my sister, and I stuck up for her. Superman punched that dude, and almost got charged for assault and battery. I don't even know if it's aggravated assault and battery or just regular assault and battery, but yeah, they ran back the tape, and they was like, yeah, we got you on tape, we could arrest you. And my mom and my grandma put a stop to that. And you just gotta fight so hard, not only fight physically but mentally. And that's what Hana has been doing for so long. She's been fighting it mentally, but it started to deteriorate. She's saying she began over, Lord, I forgot how many messages she said, but it was well over a good amount. And that's not good at all for somebody to read on social media, let alone Twitter. Is not good for somebody to be doing that on Twitter, just bullying somebody and think, oh, they won't care about it, or they probably won't see it, but or I want them to see it and stuff like that. That's not how we should go about things. And that really hit home, because Hana is 22. I'm 23, going on 24 in September this year. She would have turned 23 on the 3rd. I would have turned 24th on the 20th. And it's sad to see somebody in your age range, to do, to commit suicide, and to take their own lives because they feel like people are out here, they don't show any love, and you don't feel like you're loved enough by the people that you see who you think are your fans, or who are fans of a show or whatever you're on, and they just trash you and keep on going, and it gets to a boiling point where you just can't take it no more. And then you really start to contemplate, am I really appreciated? Am I really loved? Am I really am I deserving to be here on the earth? Do people really love me? Do my family love me? Do my friends love me? Do my fans love me? Those are things that run through people's mind. I know that had to be running through her mind, and she just didn't want to suffer through it no more. There are people on Twitter that always just never cease to amaze me. They never surprise me at all. Like, I be seeing brutal shit on Twitter all the time. People talk about this or that. Like this past week, about Dynamite, the fatal four-way. No, not fatal four-way. The tag team match between Britt Baker and Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida and Chris Statlander, when they did a spot with Statlander and Shida picked up Rose, and Britt was in the corner with her knees up when I feel like they should have been down, but that's another story for another day. And they dropped Rose on Baker, and Rose landed on Baker's knee, and now Baker can't fight tonight. As I recorded this, this tonight is double or nothing too. And then people are, backlashing, not only on Statlander and Shida, but also on roles herself, and I'm just like, well, I mean, what could she do in that moment? You know, what she couldn't have like adjusted herself. I mean, it was set up for her to land how she landed, and people just trash her on Twitter. I know we watch Monday Night Raw, and then we like to trash wrestlers. Like I've been seeing not Naomi, but Natalia getting trashed all the time. And then I see, of course, Nia Jax, because we all know, Nia Jax's reputation is, oh, she hurts people, she's not a safe worker, stuff like that. People like to trash on Nia Jax. But what we're not realizing is we always trash on the character, and we don't think about the person overall, that we're talking about. These people are human too. Then there's not a character all the time unless they really follow kayfabe. But in real life, these people are human too. Like they have real relationships with fans, friends, wrestlers, stuff like that. And people can be reckless and ruthless on Twitter. And I mean, it's just crazy. Of course, this could have been preventable. People say, well, she could have blocked, people, or she could have like filtered or something like that. But it's like you see how many messages she says she got. I mean, that's a lot of people. That's just a lot of people to like block and get rid of. And you can only take so much, and she took so much and then some. And I still the problem is she was so young. She has a whole lot to live for. She, I felt like, was going to be eventually the future face for Stardom. I know you got your ace, Mayu Iwatani, but I feel like Hana was coming into her own. She's a special character, so charismatic, happy person to watch. And apparently to be around, I've seen nothing but good stories. I haven't seen not one bad story about her being said from these wrestlers and these fans. I've seen nothing but good stories. Nothing but good stories. And it's sad to lose somebody that has a precious soul like that. And it's been tough. This hit me hard. This really hit me hard. I don't even know how I'm up here doing this, but I feel like we got to do better as people. As far as cyberbullying goes, it has to stop. It shouldn't be tolerated in this day and age. It's 2020. You got, this year has been shit. Like, you got people dying from COVID-19. You can't go nowhere. You can't go to any stores. You can't go to any open businesses, and these small businesses are losing their jobs. You got these big corporations that's losing jobs. I'm fortunate to have a job myself, working at a factory plant doing 12 hours. So 2020 has been shit, and the people haven't really got better with time. And I feel like this should be a self-reflection and a lesson to learn, to be kind to one another, to love one another, spread positivity to one another, not the negativity. There's always going to be negativity, and there's always going to be positivity, but you got to choose which one you want to spread. And spreading the negativity all the time is garbage. It's trash. It's terrible. That's something that I'm not about. At least I try not to be about in my music. I try to be positive as I can. I know people around me who are positive, like the Pugan Squad and UVC and the bro Miyagi. Shout out to Miyagi. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing good. I love you always. That's another thing we need to say to one another is, hey, I love you. Even if it's just out of the blue, or you just feel like you want to say it, just say it. Hey, I love you. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing well. This is another time to always check on your friends and your family, because you never know when they're going to go and pass away. You never know when it's time for them to go. You never know when you will see them for the last time or talk to them for the last time. And that was prevalent in what happened last night. You have wrestlers, especially with Io. I know Io was taking it hard because, she was close to Hana, and also Kari, was probably close to Hana too. I remember Asuka telling a story earlier about moving to the States, and I think she said she was getting backlash from fans, and he says she was getting emails and stuff like that saying stop wrestling, or you should quit, or blah blah blah. And basically she said that was basically like a self-reflection, and she said it was scary. And it's crazy, man. It's something that should have never happened, I feel. And there are still people on Twitter who wants to be assholes, who wants to be asshats and dumbasses and stuff like that. Treating this whole situation as a meme and making fun of wrestling Twitter, and you're saying this and that, putting bad intentions on Hunter's name. I was just like, dude, it's something that you got to fix inside yourself. It's just something that you have to look inside yourself and question yourself. Why am I doing this? Should I be doing this? I know people like to be trolls on Twitter, and people like to be, funny and shit on Twitter, but this situation right here, this is not the time to talk, because somebody has to bury their daughter. I feel so bad for Kyoko right now. I look up to Kyoko as like one of the greatest Joshi wrestlers, greatest deathmatch wrestlers, female wrestlers of all time. And she has to go carry that burden on her shoulders, carry all that weight, and bury her daughter. And I never understood growing up when my grandparents was like, you shouldn't have to bury your child, you shouldn't have to bury your seed. And I was just like, well, I looked at it from the different spectrum. I'm like, well, I mean, you shouldn't have to bury your mom and your dad and stuff like that. But when I grew up, I understood how important that is and how devastating that is. There's people, there's kids, adolescents, teenagers that get shot out here and die, and their mother and their father has to bury them, put them in the casket, give them a funeral, give them a memorial service, give them, whatever, and put them away. And, they do the repass, and, all you have left now is memories. That's all you have left is memories, and that's sad. And so I've been thinking about Kyoko as well. She's about to be catapulted into a traumatizing situation. And, that's something to think about. A mother putting her daughter to rest, which should have never happened in the first place. And I feel bad for her colleagues. As far as Hana goes, I feel bad for her colleagues, her wrestlers, her fans, Stardom. It's just all bad right now. It is terrible. A terrible thing to see. A terrible thing to learn about. And when I seen that tweet, it's just devastated me, because I know Grip posted in the chat like, oh my God, y'all, and he posted a screenshot of it, but I didn't even go in the chat. I just went on Twitter. I was like, don't tell me this is true. And I went on Twitter, and then I loaded it, and it was like the first tweet that popped up, and it said, unfortunately, we lost our Hana Kimura, and it just hit me like, shit, man. 2020 is terrible. It's terrible. It's bad. There's no good. It's just ugly right now. And all I hope is everybody just come together and unite and just spread the positivity and leave the negativity behind. Because, they still got people on Terrence House Twitter talking shit. Still got people in Japanese Twitter that's still talking shit, glorifying her death. I seen a video of a guy that's glorifying her death. Like, who does that shit? Who glorifies one's death? To that the way the sea went out. It's crazy. It's I'm still affected by it. I'm still trying to get on. I have this song that I'm releasing called "When the Curtains Close," and that'll be my personal ode to not only Hana Kimura but Shad Gaspar as well. He went out a hero. Him and his son was swimming and they got caught in the current. And, they had to get help by the rescue squad, and he told them to save my son first. And by the time they saved him, another current came and swept Shad away, and they was looking for him for about a good 2 days. And they just stopped, and around Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, he washed up ashore. When they found him, they quickly identified him, and they ruled him dead. And, like I said, you just never know. You just never know. So, in closing, please be kind to one another. Please reach out to somebody who is going through a lot. The National Suicide Prevention Hotline is always there, but sometimes it never works. And that's the reality of it. Sometimes not, a person don't need a hotline. They just need their friends to talk to, their family to talk to, somebody to talk to. So if you see somebody that needs help, that's going through some things, that's going through some suicidal thoughts, reach out to them and tell them that they are loved, and try to help them out in their situation as best as you can, and spread the positivity. That's all I do over here, spread the positivity, with the good rhymes and the good music and stuff like that. So I'll come back up here another day, and I'll talk about the era of the Empress and Asuka's reign. I'll probably do that way before Backlash happens. And just keep the positivity going. Keep everybody in your prayers. It's 2020 is rough. We lost a lot of people who we thought we wasn't going to lose this year, and I mean a lot of people. So, with that being said, rest in peace to Shad Gaspard, and especially rest in peace to the funky cyber leader of Tokyo Cyber Squad, Hana Kimura. And I'm out. Peace. Love one another, love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, then who's gonna love you? So you always gotta love yourself, and I knew both of them loved themselves, so that's why they spreaded so much positivity and stuff like that they had. So peace, everybody. I'll see you next episode. This has been Ring Talk, and I'll see you guys later.